why you're screwing up by not focusing on starting and scaling a licensed cannabis brand now before it's too late. I'm going to touch on a few of these things, but right now is the perfect time. It's a perfect opportunity to roll out a licensed cannabis brand. The number one reason why is because the cost of goods is so low right now. So we're seeing cannabis, whether that's cheap cannabis or high quality cannabis, it's at an all-time low price right now. Whether you're coming in from out of town or whether you're a local out here in California, the entire market of the country has been brought down in price. Whether you're getting it direct to farms out here in California, or even if you're buying it from suppliers, say if you're in New York or something, it's still going to be drastically cheaper than what you've used to pay in previous years. So use that to your advantage right now. That means a pound of weed right now that you could potentially get for $1,000, $1,200, $1,400, easily a year ago, 2 years ago for sure, was $2,200, $2,400, $3,000 potentially. Right there, you're saving 100%, 200% in your cost of goods. And cost of goods, in case you don't know, cost of goods is the cost that it takes to produce your product that you're selling. So that means your packaging, any labor that goes into that, obviously your raw material costs. So these are all things that all your product pricing is based on. The success of your product market fit, all this is based on, does the consumer resonate with that price point, with that quality, with what that offer is. So now you're able to be more flexible with that. And you're also able to try new things out at a lower cost where it's not as risky. So the fact that your cost of goods is lower means that you have more money to spend on marketing, whether that means your team, if you need to scale up a bit more, facility space, going to events, traveling, all these things come out of your budget. And if your cost of goods is lower, but you're still able to make similar margins, you're going to have more to spend on your marketing budget. And this is going to enhance your brand altogether. And that's the thing with business, is it's not, the objective isn't to just set this up to start selling weed in stores, to start getting profit back, to then live off of and have some extravagant lifestyle. There's two ways to approach this. One is business expenses. So use that to your advantage. The more you can write off on your business expenses goes against how much income comes in. A quick example, I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but for a handful of viewers that might not know this, let's say you brought in $100,000 in revenue, and revenue just means total cash collected. That means that's including the cost of goods, how much it costed to market it, any employee costs, rent, all that stuff is included in revenue. So if you made $100,000 in revenue, that means you collected $100,000 in cash total out of all your sales. Now let's say out of that 100K, let's say 50% of that is your product costs. Let's say that's your raw materials off top, your cost of goods sold, 50% of that's gone. So you brought in 100K, 50K of that was your cost, flower cost, packaging, employee costs, to package it, to transport it, to sell it, whatever. So all your cost of goods are included in that 50K. Now let's say that other 50K, that's not all profit either, because what's not necessarily included in cost of goods is your marketing, operational expenses for the whatever you got going on, whether that mean rent, events that you're going to go to, product development, research and development, all these things that you may not be thinking. It's like, oh, I'm buying 10 pounds, I'm packaging them up, I'm flipping those 10 pounds, I'm collecting that money, and then do whatever you're going to do with that money. No, what you want to do is you want to sell that 10 pounds, collect that money, reinvest that money into your business. So pay yourself a reasonable salary. It's not just like all that profit just goes to you. You want to have all that profit go back to your business. And in doing so, you're able to scale your business, whether that be developing new products, expanding your marketing, expanding your advertising, expanding your reach, touching into new markets. Maybe if you're in the licensed cannabis market, you're exploring the hemp side of things, THCA markets. So these are all things that are capital intensive. So if you want to start flipping 5, 10, 20 pounds a month in the license market with your brands, you can pull in a nice amount of money on that. You can make anywhere from low end 10K upwards of 20K, if you're flipping 20 pounds a month branded products. So, and that would be clear profit. That's after your expenses, cost of goods taken out. So if you're making 20K a month, a lot of people will love that. And they're going to be like, bro, fucking 20K a month, that's 250K a year, you know, $250,000 a year, basically. It's not what you think. It's not a lot. And that 20K can easily within a day be gone. You know, if you really wanted to expand on some scaling projects, on some new products, on a new business idea, etc. So that 20K might seem a lot to you now, but when you're running a business and you're scaling that business, it's not really a lot. Thinking of it in a sense, is it better for you to take that 20K and go spend it on some shit, go spend it on some just random ass shit to just live whatever lifestyle you're living? Or is it better to take that 20K, put it back into that business, scale up your marketing a bit more, scale up your footprint, scale up your team? All these things are assets that you're building. You're building this foundation to basically build up this machine that's going to just start churning out profits for you in the future. The time that you do want to take money out is after your initial business foundation is built out and it's just running, and you're just churning in all that revenue, and you have your costs dialed in. You know exactly out of this much revenue, this is where all my costs are going, this is how much profit there is, we're reinvesting this much, there's this much left over. And from there, you have plenty of options with the surplus that is left over after you're done reinvesting. Not that you're done, that there's an end point to reinvestment. You can continuously reinvest and scale. However, there is going to be a point where you're being reinvesting enough, or you're getting in so much revenue each month, it would be silly to reinvest 100% of that revenue or 100% of that profit back into scaling. So there is going to be a time where if you're succeeding good enough, you have so much coming in that you're still scaling at 100%, you're developing new products, you're doing your marketing, everything, but there's still a surplus. And that's where you want to start strategizing with that. And the best thing to do is to buy assets with that. Assets are going to go up in value. Obvious ones that we probably start to think about is real estate. So real estate is good, especially if you're going to rent it out. When you live in the real estate, it's not quite an asset, but this video isn't about real estate investing or finance investing. It's just about when you're making a lot of money, how to scale up your financial footprint through buying assets. There's a lot of other assets too, even supercars, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bugattis. Those can be considered assets too. So with toys like that, it's a slippery slope. If you buy the right ones, they can be complete assets. But there's also ones, if you don't buy the right ones, they'll go down in value. So the best asset, honestly, and obviously everyone's into crypto right now because it's booming, but let's say over a long time frame, yeah, there's years where crypto's bad, there's years where it's really good. So let's say if all of your extra profit were to be invested into Bitcoin, for instance. So you just continue living that life, you scale up your brands, scale up your profits, scale up your expansion. Now you have a surplus left, continuing. If you were to just invest that into Bitcoin, just sit on it, not even spend it, and that were to continue to grow and compound too, what you can do with that Bitcoin is borrow against it. Same way as if you own property, have a equity line of credit, home equity, refinancing, etc. So you can do it similar with the crypto, where you borrow against the Bitcoin, but you're not having to sell the Bitcoin. You still hold it. Someone's just giving you a loan and you're using that Bitcoin on collateral. So from that standpoint, that to me is the ultimate money-making machine, where you start your business, you scale that, you get that insulated, you get that going as automated as possible, as consistent as possible, as predictable as possible. Continuously reinvest, get that really solid, get to the point where you have your vision materialized. From there, start taking those profits, reinvesting into assets. It doesn't have to be crypto or Bitcoin, and it doesn't have to be real estate. You can even put that to the S&P 500, safe investment. After taxes, after inflation, you can even conservatively calculate a 6 to 7% clear return. So again, if you are putting, say you have $10 million in the S&P 500 and you're getting 7% back, that's $700,000 for that year that you could potentially live on, if not reinvest that. Me as a single male, no kids, no wife, I live a simple life. 700,000 is more than I need for the year, so I could live off of 200,000 even and still be comfortable, have a great life. Continuously reinvest that extra 500 that all that 10 million is making, continue reinvesting that 500K back into the S&P 500. So the point is, the idea isn't to make money to just spend it and to blow it and go on trips and buy cars and mansions and all this stuff. Yes, the cars and mansions can be considered assets, and if you do it smart, that's perfectly fine, and you're building your asset portfolio. But if you're just living that big life to just look cool on IG and stuff, and you're renting these houses all the time, going on crazy trips, renting these expensive cars, renting private jets to just live that lifestyle, it's pointless, it's meaningless, it's silly in a sense that all that money that could have been spent, 30-40,000 on a private jet flight, 30-40,000 on a mansion rental, like all these things, it's like, bro, that's 100K you could have just put in a Bitcoin, for instance, and just sat on it. And, you know, in a year when it doubles everything. So my point being, from a smart money standpoint, these businesses aren't designed to just support your lifestyle. What I'm teaching is designed to create an enhanced lifestyle, to build the foundation so that you can become unstoppable, to where your monetary foundation is built up so strong, it's like a castle with a moat, and you're the king inside of it, and you got an army around it. It's like, for someone to get in there and penetrate that and to take it all is going to be extremely hard, especially if you have it set up properly with a trust and LLCs and stuff like that. So again, this isn't financial advice, just more about for you to get the bigger picture, to think when you're building your cannabis brand, you have the potential to make all this profit. And if you're doing it right and running efficiently, that profit's going to come in continuously, month after month after month. So you want to be smart. You want to have your plan ahead. You want to start coming into all this money and be like, bro, let's go to Vegas. Let's go party. Let's go rent this. Let's go do this. It's like, no, have that plan already. As soon as you get that surplus of money, is that going back into the business? Is that going into marketing? Is that going into scaling? Is that going into investments? You want to live like that money doesn't exist. So I don't want to be rambling or ranting here, but I feel like these are lessons that I've learned. I've lost millions of dollars over my cannabis career. And there's a lot of times where I'll look back, I'll be like, man, that one year I paid back these farms, you know, 300,000, this one, 200,000. It's like all these losses here and there, for instance, add up. And you're like, bro, if I would have had that $1 million in losses just locked away in S&P 500 making 6% a year, bro, that's like 60 grand a year that you could have been absorbing year after year after year. So point is, cannabis industry, especially the bulk industry, and that's how I absorbed all those losses, was in the bulk industry. It wasn't in the retail industry. It wasn't in the packaged product industry. It was literally selling trim, selling pounds, selling flower, mostly that. I took a little loss on some crude once. The crude is the precursor to distillate, but the wholesale bulk market, there's a lot of upside potential. Don't get me wrong, it's how a lot of us in this industry made it, built our foundations, built the security to be able to, go out and make these brands and have the startup capital to actually roll that out. So I'm extremely grateful for all the opportunities that I've had in the wholesale market over the past 20 years. However, it's just like gambling. It's like high stakes poker. It's like, yeah, you could win 50K today, but you could also lose 100K tomorrow. My point being is that lifestyle, for a lot of us, especially if you're older in your 30s, 40s, it gets old, and it's ultimately the equivalent of living paycheck to paycheck with hell of fat paychecks. So imagine if you have the capability of making 10 grand a week, but you also run the risk of losing 40K a week. My point being is, from the outside looking in, it's not necessarily what it is. And that saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown, is true in that case, where, yeah, you could be making $100,000 flips monthly. That market takes a single shift and you get stuck with, say, 20, 30 pounds that go bad that you can't sell. Now all of a sudden that 30K in pounds of cost is adding up quick. Now that's deducting against your expenses, and now your profit's down, and it's a chain reaction. You see what I'm saying? So one bad move, one slip up in the wholesale market can annihilate your entire cash flow. Whereas at least with the licensed retail market, it's not going to be as massive to where you can go make 50K in one day, but it's scalable, it's predictable, it's safe. You can get insurance on all aspects of it, from buying it from the grow, transferring it to the distro, transferring it to the manufacturer, transferring it to the store. All these license holders have robust insurance to protect those products and to protect any theft, any damages. So the point being is, in the unlicensed market, it's not like that. Let's go back to that example. You flipping 50 pounds a week, a month, whatever. Let's say you picked up that 50 pounds and you brought it back to wherever you brought it back to store it, to then break it down and then sell your pounds out individually. Let's say that place catches on fire and it burns down. Let's say a robbery happens and it's gone. Say the cops come in and raid it, it's gone. So it's like, there's no safety, there's no insurance, there's no safety net, there's no backup plan. So I don't want to be rambling here, but it's just my take on things, where we're at in the industry right now and where the opportunities lie. Because that's the thing, the cannabis industry isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. More and more people are continuing to, whether that be experiment and try it, or feel the comfort where they're lowering their guard. They're able to now smoke or ingest it, eat it, whatever. You're seeing senior citizens, you're seeing parents that used to punish their kids, that used to send them to the police station, like all these different things back in the 90s and early 2000s where weed was just taboo. It was not a good thing to be a part of, you know, and everyone had that ingrained in their mindset. And so nowadays that's lifting more people are open to it, more people are willing to try it. They see the benefits, they see that it's not as bad as what we've been taught growing up. So we have this expansion technically in consciousness. People are becoming more conscious to the fact of the benefits of weed, and that the people that participate in the weed market aren't criminals, aren't, you know, they portrayed it as it being an evil thing, like it was the devil's drug. It's definitely not like that. And so my point being is this market is continuing to expand, and that's the basis of life, is growth and creation is what creates happiness in life. And our universe is continually expanding. It's never shrinking, it's continuously expanding. And that's why we see these things in life. Our monetary system expands, our technology expands, our ability to solve problems expands, our technical innovations expand, which then cause other expansions. Look at what AI is doing right now. So just the advent of AI, the ability to 10x your productivity output, just the ability to do copywriting, the ability to help with social media, the ability to help generate, look at Sora, ChatGPT's video engine. It's crazy the level of detail and how realistic it looks. So imagine what's going to happen in 5-10 years, you know? So everything is constantly expanding, and if you can stay ahead of that expansion, or if you can be on the cusp of that, and you can see like, look, everything's going this way, if I can jump up this way, I'm going to catch that wave and ride it in. So that's kind of where we're at right now, is we're at such an amazing point in time in the history of the universe right now, where there's this culmination of technology, both with AI, crypto, wellness, with alternative wellness, away from just the traditional Western medicine approach. So we're talking quality foods, health benefits in terms of avoiding plastics, avoiding seed oils, avoiding GMO foods. All these things people are more conscious to now. Our awareness has expanded, it's grown. So now we have the ability to live better lives, to live healthier lives, to live more financially abundant lives, to live lives where we don't have to be stuck doing the monotonous things, because now AI, even robotics, is coming into the scene soon, to where that's going to be, it's going to open up so many doors that we're not even aware of yet. Think back 5 years ago, no one knew what ChatGPT was. All AI was a science fiction term at that point to most of us. But if you saw what was coming 5 years ago with just ChatGPT alone, and you had some context to it of how you could get ahead of that curve, how you could be on the forefront of that, again, it's like surfing. If you're on the wave at the right time, it's just exponentially, energy is just going to push you. But if you catch that wave a little bit too late, the wave's just going to go right past you, and you're still going to be sitting out there. That's where we're at right now, between AI, crypto, cannabis, our government. You know, let's see what happens with that. But it seems like there's a lot of change happening. All that comes back to the concept of growth and creation. We're constantly growing, and ones that are embracing that have that abundance mentality. They know it's going to continue getting better and better and better, and we're continually growing. We're continually creating new stuff, continually creating happiness for people, solutions to problems, abundance, financial abundance. So all these things are important, and I see that cannabis is a huge catalyst to that, because it's allowing, look at all the people it's allowed just this past 10 years, all the people that have made millions and millions of dollars from selling just wholesale pounds. Think about how many kids that help support, how many families that help grow, how many houses that help buy for those families, how many kids went to good schools because of that money, how many senior citizens and parents got taken care of because their kids were able to go make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands a month flipping packs. And so look at that inherent power of cannabis, of flower. And that's allowed this huge financial revolution for everyone participating these past 10, 20 years, to where we're in a position that not a lot of people have ever been able to be in their entire lives. So I look at cannabis as it's a secret weapon to financial independence, it's a secret weapon to breaking free from pharmaceuticals. You know, it helps a lot of people in a lot of different ways, to where they no longer need pharmaceuticals just because the cannabis handles it. So between medical and financial, it's a huge, huge, huge opportunity. And then when you stack on top of it AI, crypto, robotics, all these new technologies that's emerging, plus the awareness of our collective consciousness growing and scaling, and the new generations coming in aren't bound by the old ways of thinking from the baby boomer days. Our possibilities are endless. So I'm really excited about what's to come. I really truly believe in my heart that cannabis for the right people with the right intentions is a game changer. It's going to help provide freedom, security, health, comfort, scale, abundance, and much more. I'm just talking off the top of my head right now, so I'm sure there's things I'm missing, but just from the big picture point of view, man, we're an amazing time to be alive. So I appreciate the support on this. I'm putting out all this content. I've been spending, honestly, I don't even know. It's kind of embarrassing the amount of money I've spent on poor performing content, on consistently making content that hasn't necessarily blown up yet. But I believe in the purpose. I believe in the path. And I look at that as it's just taking me those years to go through poor performing content to learn how to make great content, to get it out to the people at the right time when it's needed. And that's what this is. That's where Cannabis Academy is headed. I started making content under my personal brand, Hi Chris, and that's evolving. And so I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I'm honored to be able to help people, even if it's by afar and they're just watching a video here or there and it helps flip a switch in their brain or something. It's amazing to me. I can't believe the power that has. And sometimes I'm not even aware of it. Most of the time, I'm not even aware of it. You know, some people will leave it in their comments, or I'll hear, I'll come across people in person, like at an event or something, and be like, bro, that content you're putting out, keep doing it. It's fire. They give that reassurance. So I believe in the movement is what I'm saying. And the amount of money that I put into just marketing, scaling, content creation, and I'm not saying it's all been successful either, but it's been trial and error, and it's been what I've had to learn to get to where I'm at, to get to where I'm going. And so a lot of that trial and error, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, I'm just regurgitating out to you guys for free. I'm just saying like, hey, I tried this, skip this, take this turn here, do this like this, do this. And it's like, man, I didn't have anyone to do that. I had a few key people, give me some advice here or there, but it wasn't like a constant, I had to really follow my gut. I had to take a lot of chances. I had to go out on limbs. I had to question myself where I see people making an abundance of money and living certain lifestyles where I'm saying like, man, over the past X amount of years, I've made this much money, but I've constantly reinvested it back into content creation, into scaling the brand, into starting brands, into paying for the team, traveling, marketing, losses. So these are all things that people don't take into account. They just see the flashy lifestyle for people. They see them driving in Rolls Royces, staying in mansions, but they don't know all the loss, the sacrifice, the setbacks, the obstacles, the challenges, everything that what they see now represents. And so I hope some of this connects and resonates with some people, and I'm really focused on what I'm doing and I believe in it. And yeah, I'm glad to be able to help people evolve their lives and scale and live in abundance, having that abundance mentality. So thanks for watching. Check out my other content. I'm excited to see where this all goes.